Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Just Talk with Gabe. I'm here, my psychic is here, and so is our guest. Let's get started. Who do we have on today's show?
Today we have one super amazing actress, entrepreneur, and totally cool mom, Cara AnnMarie.
I can't wait to hear all about her. So, go grab your snacks, sit back, relax, and as always,
Enjoy the show!
Cara, welcome to the show. We're glad you could join us for an episode of Just Talk with Gabe.
Hello, Gabe. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Alrighty, so you are an actress and entrepreneur. Tell us how you got started.
Gosh, it was 100 years ago. No. How I really got started, I always, the actress musical theater land started a little bit prior to becoming an entrepreneur. Obviously, when I was a kid, I grew up in a really artistic community, which is Chelsea, Michigan. Props to Chelsea, Michigan, right there. It's actually where Jeff Daniels is from, and he has a beautiful, beautiful theater there. And it's just a rich, artistic, very kind of open-minded community, and I was so blessed to grow up there. And so growing up, I did a lot of choir and debate and musical theater, and that led to getting into the University of Michigan, into their voice program. So I actually got into their opera program, but I always was really, my eyes were on musical theater. That was kind of what I wanted to do. So that is actually what, once I graduated from the University of Michigan, I went to Chicago first and booked a bunch of jobs that ended up taking me to New York, and did kind of the first decade of my career just doing musical theater. And it was so wild and wonderful, and lots of tours and traveling and singing and dancing. And then I kind of switched focus, and I moved back to Michigan for a little bit, and I met my husband, and he really he had worked in commercial production, post production. He actually has a degree in animation, so he really encouraged me to kind of get going with doing on camera work, and that is what led to me auditioning for more TV and film and commercials. Thank you to my husband. And but then together we're such a great team, and we knew we wanted to kind of do something together, create a business together. He wasn't really loving what he was doing, and he wanted to do his own thing. And we rescued a senior dog, and I would have rescued a zillion if I could. I mean, it's there's bundles of love, and that didn't seem like a reality with which how much we travel. And but we knew, like, let's get into the pet space and see if there's something that we can do good in, as far as like making a product that's good for the planet, and then also we're donating on a really large scale. And so together we created Doggy Do Good, and it's been really going gangbusters since then, and we're creating new products together. And it's been just an awesome journey to have this other element to myself outside of something artistic. But it's cool because my husband actually does a lot of the design and the commercials and stuff for Doggy Do Good as well. So it's amazing how these skills really translate into a lot of business as well, and they're pretty valuable in kind of whatever project we're working on.
That's awesome.
That is wow.
I mean, I do have to say that I totally would adopt every dog I see on the planet. So
Yeah, you would.
I would. Totally.
And that's not a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
if people have big farms and they have the ability, I really admire that trajectory for people. And maybe one day we will have that situation. Right now we are nonstop. So
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So actually, speaking more on your acting, you've been a part of like some amazing projects like Cobra Kai, Detroiters, Containment. So is there a particular character or project that stands out to you as being especially impactful or fulfilling?
I mean, anytime I get to work and play, I feel very fulfilled. I
Right.
think
Right.
you talk with a lot of actors, and it's challenging. The audition process is challenging, and a zillion times you say to yourself, like, why am I still doing this to myself? When you're auditioning, like, why am I putting up with this abuse? But then something comes up, and it's just such a gift. I actually was just texting with one of the writers from Cobra Kai, um, about just how I'm obsessed with this most recent and final season 6. I've been in season 1, 4, and 6, and I think this is the best season. And the writing, to me, I just don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep elevating the writing. It's so creative, it's so surprising. I've really, really loved being a part of this journey with Cobra Kai, and my character. To me, I think there's so much more. When you get given a character, you're only, you have what's on the page and what the writers are able to do. I think there's a ton more I could do with Sue and Cobra Kai. So, and what's really interesting is we actually, the All Valley board, this particular final season, we were supposed to be in 3 episodes, but it's
Oh.
really, really challenging. It's 4 of us, right? Is that how many we are?
Right.
4 or 5 of us, depending on which season you catch us in, that are the recurring characters. And it was just, we could not get schedules to align. It was really impossible. That's just a lot of people to try to make it all work and get them all
Right.
in
That's true.
Georgia. And so it ended up getting sort of whittled down to us just having this small scene, which was still an absolute gift. And it actually was so cool because William Zabka, Billy, Johnny Lawrence was our director. That happened to be the episode that he directed.
Oh
So,
wow.
what I mean, and he is just, if you get the opportunity to cross paths with him, whether it's at a festival or something, he's one of the best people I've ever met. So kind, so present, so genuine. He's lovely. And, as was really everyone that I got to work with on Cobra Kai. So that, I would say, because I've had the most time on that show, I've had the most relationships with the people, and that to me has been very special. I was actually also at the premiere in LA just recently, which was just so fun. Um, but I am from outside of Detroit. So Detroiters was a really, really cool, I had no idea really. I didn't know Sam and Tim, but I knew Lauren Michaels was one of the executive producers. Jason Sudeikis was on the show in the first season, and he was very, very lovely. So that was a really, and what's very cool is Detroiters has now gone from Comedy Central. It's now on Netflix. So I hope
Right.
it gets the eyeballs and the love that it deserves, because those guys are super talented and so much fun to work with. I mean, I was just blown away. Tim Robinson can make up lines on the spot that will blow your mind. How funny he is, just from all of that improv. And Sam comes from improv, and so that was a really great thing. Containment was actually the absolute very first TV show I ever booked, and it was
Really?
pretty, yeah, it was pretty cool. I It's so funny because I think that was back in maybe 20, gosh, 15 or 16. And I was brand new to the business. I had just started auditioning, and I booked this. Maybe it was my third audition. I mean, so I thought this is going to be easy. Like, I'm going to be on TV. I didn't realize, like, sometimes the stars align really quickly, and that is no, you're not gonna just be like booked every. I just thought, like, oh, I'm gonna be working all the time, and it was crazy. I
Yeah.
have been very, very
Yeah.
lucky, but it was just one of those things. And the director was awesome, and I had a really, really, it still was a really cool experience. So, and then I've had things that I've worked on that I got cut from and no one's ever seen me in. My
You hate
husband's
that when you're.
Yeah, don't you hate when you get cut?
it's
Like,
the worst. My husband said I've been cut out of some of the best TV shows. And like he says it as a compliment, but I'm still like, that's rude, sir. I don't know. But it is, they overshoot things, and not everybody gets to make it to what you see. And that's one of the things that I think podcasts are so good. People sharing their experiences. Like the first time I was cut out of something was Ozark. I worked on the first season of
oh,
Ozark, and I played a realtor. It was an unbelievable experience. It was actually right in tandem with working on Detroiters, because I remember talking with Jason Sudeikis about working. Jason Bateman was the director when I worked on season 1 of Ozark, and I was opposite Laura Linney. I just was like, my head was exploding. I couldn't believe my luck. I
right.
also thought like they've made a huge mistake. I don't know what I'm doing here. You get so riddled with fear at the same time that like they're gonna figure me out. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, and then I did get cut from it. I've heard Jason Bateman on some different podcasts talk about some things that he was struggling with to figure out the voice of that first season. So, but
Right.
so I think I have some inkling about why it occurred. I do have a tendency to lean a little funnier sometimes when I'm delivering even serious things. I love the humor in things. I think I'm in my real life a funnier person. I'd rather be happy than sad. So
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
even sometimes when I get really heavy, dramatic things, my brain just goes to like, wouldn't this be funny if I did it this way? Like, why take it all so seriously? Especially on some things that are episodic, and you think like, oh, really, this is happening like every episode. Someone's finding themselves in a real drama.
Right.
Um, but when I remember Ozark was dropping to Netflix at like 3 in the morning on the East Coast, because that was midnight in LA. And I woke up and I wanted to see myself on this show.
Oh,
And
you
it
woke
was,
up at 3 in the morning? Oh
yeah,
no.
I did. Yeah, I did. I'd never heard of anyone getting cut out of a show. You know what I mean? Like, I was
Yeah.
so brand new to it that it wasn't even on my radar that that was a possibility. And I think the more actors understand, you really only have the creation process. You only have
Right.
the time when you're on set, and to soak that up and to play as much as possible and to be as present as possible and listen as much as possible, and because that's all you have. Once it's done, once you're done with it, it goes to editors, it goes into post-production, and it might not look anything like what you did on the day, and it also, you might not even be there.
Right.
So I always, and it's okay, it's okay, life will continue, you'll be in other things.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been acting for a long time on both the theater side and behind the camera. What is one misconception people will have about the life of an actor?
Gosh, I actually just, I know it because I feel like I deal with it all the time. It's
Right.
that all actors are celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
that's
I
true.
think that to me is just the biggest misconception. Hold on. Sorry, my son's vacuuming right now in pretend.
Oh,
But
that's too
um,
cute.
can you be? Yep. So we're actually at a resort right now, and I just met a couple, and I was talking with them a ton. They're from the East Coast, and I've spent a lot of time in New York and New York City, and so I was talking with them about our pet company. And then something happened, and the husband was asking me about something like why I'd lived in New York, and then we got talking about how I was an actress. And the wife was like, "Oh, you didn't tell me that you were an actress." And I thought, like, it's because I don't want to, you're met so frequently with like, well, why aren't you Jennifer Aniston? Or like, they just
Right. Right.
can't really wrap their brains around the fact that the whole world of TV and film, every single person that you see walking behind those celebrities or engaging with those celebrities, talking with the celebrities, even when they're not the stars of shows, those are all really hardworking actors, and it's a
No, yeah.
complete gift to be asked to even be a part of a show. You know, obviously everybody wants to have their story be the main storyline, but it's a long journey. You know, I think sometimes it takes a bit, and it's a lot of good fortune too. You know, it's a lot of paying dues as well. I think,
Right.
especially with casting, there's some casting directors that do incredible, beautiful shows and work that I've been auditioning for a decade. And I feel like they're probably just now starting to get a real idea of what I'm capable of, you know?
Right.
Because you're not auditioning for them twice a week. You're auditioning for them maybe twice a month, maybe every other month if they really like you, you know? Because there's a ton of casting directors out there, there's a ton of projects out there. So the more you're able to, like, that's more of a radar of success than fame. I think fame is a different thing than being a working actor for sure. And, you know, the best trajectory of success is just casting directors are continuing to ask you to put your hat in the ring for a project that they're working on. And I really, you know, I want actors to know that if they're getting asked to audition, they're doing a good job, and they should just keep getting better and better at it, because it will, bigger and bigger things will appear for them the longer they stay on this road. I really believe that.
That's true. I agree. Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
So actually, speaking a bit more on that, right, the auditioning process and everything, how
Sure.
do you stay motivated to keep going in this competitive industry?
I'm glad we're doing this podcast. This is something that actually really motivates me, is just talking with other people about the business, staying connected with people in a community. One thing that was such a gift with Cobra Kai is that they have an incredible fan base. They have some of the people that have genuinely become friends of mine because we've connected on social media. I talk with them if I'm traveling and they happen to be doing something. I will connect with people in real life because they are so motivating. They will
Right.
Right.
support you in other projects, but you can create that, you know, just by doing this podcast or being on social media, any of it, having other people that you can support when they are doing amazing work. You can support their work, they can support your work, because it is some of the time you feel, and it ebbs and flows. You know, I am much more motivated, I would say, when I am in a major market where Hollywood is right there or
Right.
Broadway is right there. You know, it's a little bit easier when it's constantly in your face. But there's, you know, you can be an actor in Wisconsin. You can, Chicago has a beautiful theater community. They're not doing, I would say, as much TV film as maybe you're in LA or New York, you know, but
Right.
there's stuff going on absolutely everywhere. And to just stay on the pulse of things that, you know, you're watching. Like, I get very motivated. I have lots of friends that I see doing awesome stuff. I turn on the TV. Sometimes it's distracting though, where you're like, I'm paying more attention to knowing this person in real life than watching them act. But it's still, I'm super motivated by other people's journeys and success, and just understanding that there's an element of surprise to it too. You know, my husband, and he really helps keep me in my head in the game, because there is sometimes that it is easy to just think like, oh, maybe I should be doing something else or whatever. And he always reminds me, you know, because I'm so fortunate that my family actually comes with me, because my husband and I have this other business. If I'm working anywhere, if I'm working in Los Angeles, if I'm working in Chicago, we all get in our RV and we kind
Oh, that's
of
awesome.
go to wherever I need to be. And that's really fun. And so he always reminds me kind of remember when we did this thing, we never would have gone to this place if you hadn't booked that show. It
That's
takes
true.
us on this adventure, and to look at it more as just an adventure and a surprise, and anything is possible. And it really is true wherever you are in the journey of being an actor. It will keep surprising you. You just never know. There could be something. I also love watching older actors that I've never seen before, and I think, where has this woman been? Because she's spectacular. And
Right.
probably she's been on Broadway, or I don't know where she's been, but to see her more prolific now than maybe when she was younger, even, I think that's very exciting. And I kind of joke, like, maybe I'm really going to hit it big in my 50s and just be so fabulous. Who knows? But it ebbs and flows, but I think there are a lot of places to source out. I love to hop into classes in New York City. There is a studio that I love there called the Barrow Group. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They have an off-Broadway
No.
theater. And even if I'm not in New York, I actually just did a script analysis with one of the founders of Barrow Group. His name's Seth Barish. He's a genius to me. And just doing something so rudimentary as script analysis, it was amazing. And I was so inspired when I was doing the class. Actually, just the other day, I was looking again to see kind of what are some of the classes that they have. So even staying in classes, you meet great people, and it just keeps you learning and fresh with things to try even when you're auditioning, so that your auditions don't get where you're doing the same thing. I think that's helped me bring some fresh stuff into auditions that have been just fun for me to even surprise myself sometimes.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like continuing education is always the key, I think, to keeping any career fresh and stuff
For
that's
sure.
new. Now, if you could bottle all of that up and write the perfect role for yourself, what would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Well, coming from musical theater, and I'm pretty open when I talk to people about this. I want something where I sing and dance.
That would be
I That's like a TV show. I want something that's like a, you know, because I have done it in movies. I have done a completely an original movie musical called Liberty's Secret, and it was wonderful and fun. I think I did that in 2018, and I'm still super close to everyone I worked with on that. And it was about marriage equality, because that was kind of on the table at the time. It's this girl meets girl movie musical, and so I did that for that, and then
uh-huh.
I just did it for I just sang a hymn in a movie called The Battle of Bushy Run that I am trying to get my hands on, because it has not been released in the United States. It's been
Oh
Oh
released
no.
no.
it's been released on Amazon in the UK.
Oh
So I've been
wow.
trying to find UK friends and fans out there that can get me this movie, because I've seen it. I watched a premiere. They had a premiere on the Fox lot in Los Angeles, and it was very fun. And I just want to show the world. Like, that's one of the things that's hard, is like, you just want to share with people what you've done. So, but to get back to
Exactly.
the question, TV show, I would want it sort of in the vein of, like, do you remember Kristen Chenoweth in Pushing Daisies? How,
No.
like, okay, this is beautiful. Kristen Chenoweth, are you familiar with her? She's a
Yeah, I was about to,
huge Broadway star.
okay.
Goddess. She's just wonderful. And she was in this TV show, and I think other people have let her do it, where, because she's a powerhouse Broadway singer and actress, she's in this TV show, but then here and there she breaks into song.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
Oh.
it was wonderful. There actually was another show. I'm a big Ben Platt fan as well. He's a Broadway guy, and he had a show called The Politician, which also, I think it's on
Oh yeah.
Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I
Please,
know that show. Yeah.
something like that, right? Where it's
Okay.
like, it's this sort of dark comedy, where maybe it's like a murder mystery comedy, but then the characters break into song. To me, that's a dream. And then it goes on for, seasons upon seasons, and you get to
I like that.
really you get to really build a family around, because that's one of the challenges that I've noticed coming from TV and film, or coming from theater, where you do 6 months of a show. These people are your family. You maybe see them more than your family, right? You maybe
You
like them
do.
Yeah,
more
you
than your
do.
family, right?
You're so right. You're staying on set with these people for
For
10,
like
12 hours a
hours a
day.
day,
So
yeah.
yeah.
1,000,000%. So, and you're having these kind of crazy experiences with them, like someone does something weird in the audience, or I don't know, you're having weird things go on. And then it's really, then you go on to sets, and in the beginning when you're just booking co-stars, you might just be there a day, and you're the new kid at school. You're just trying to connect with whoever you're acting with. And so that's one of the things that I hope people really know the gift they have when they do get to be these recurring characters and show up season after season. They get that family dynamic, probably good and bad. There's probably
Right.
people where you're like, oh, do I, like with any job, right? Like, do I have to see, whoever in HR again or whatever?
Yeah.
But to me, having more of I really miss that dynamic, and I crave it a lot, to just feel like I have more of a community when I'm working. And so bring on the I don't know if it's like a lawyer drama where they break into song. That could be
Oh, that
possibly
would be
fun.
That would
awesome.
be
Yeah,
fun,
because
yeah.
That would be fun.
I do audition for a lot of lawyers, and I feel like they should break into song, like
They
instead of
really should.
reading this long monologue. Like, give me a break. This lady should sing it. Like, how much more persuasive could that be?
That you can mix that with like a Kimmy Schmidt,
Love it.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt type persona. Okay, I
Yes,
totally watch that show. I
I
would
love
be
it.
so
Okay, if
glued.
anybody's listening, any writers, executive producers out there, we're ready to do
Exactly.
it.
All right. So, what would you say has been the most fun you've had on set?
The most fun, definitely Cobra Kai. I mean, gosh, this is really hard though, because I had a ton of fun on Detroiters. That was very, very playful. I have a very good friend I met on that, just, playing with people. But I don't know, I think maybe gosh, I can't, this is really hard to pick the most fun, but maybe season 4 of Cobra Kai. Now, we had Josh, one of the creators, Josh, but season 4 also was when we got to meet Carrie Underwood, and she was very lovely and pleasant and just a badass. We got to see her
Uh-huh.
perform, and those guys that I work with in the All Valley those guys have become family to me for sure. We're in constant contact with each other, just about life and everything. And so I think maybe that was the last time we were all together, because we were not all together in season 6. One of those
Right.
guys didn't make it to the table, which was really difficult. But I kind of know now that we've shot it, I understand sort of what happened.
Right.
But
Right.
it is difficult sometimes. But the way it got written, it just needed the character of Gavin, to be sort of at the head of the table. He was who was now in charge of the All Valley. So, but those guys are really fun to play with. And I even this particular season, because I felt so comfortable with those guys, we we're getting ready to do a wide shot of the board scene that we have, and it was not written. My character, not to do spoiler alert for anyone, but my
Uh-huh.
character jumps across the table at one of the
Yeah.
other guys.
Yeah.
And that was not in the script, but when I read it to my husband, I was just practicing it, and or running lines with him, and I said, to me, she goes at him. Like, to me, I've had it with George. This is the end.
Let's just go for it.
And
Right.
so when I was talking with the other guys in the green room, I just said, like, I have this instinct. And they were like, do it. You've got to do it. So I did it. And then when we did the first take, it was just silent after I did that. And I thought, like, oh gosh, like, what have I
I
done?
messed up.
And then Billy ran in the room, and he was like, I nearly fell out of my chair when you do that. Keep doing this. More and more and more of this. So it was, I think when you're really having fun and you're with people that are fun and are it's a safe place to try things. That's the most fun you could have. And anytime you're doing that, it just feels like, is this really work? Am I doing this? Like, you have to really pinch yourself when you're in those moments. It's a gift.
Exactly. It
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
is.
So on to Dougie Dogood a bit. How do you juggle the
Sure.
demands of being an actress and also an entrepreneur?
Barely. I it's hard. I was just saying to my husband, like, I think I need to start getting up at 5 in the morning to get everything done. You know, I it's really scheduling, and I'm not great at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I it's juggling a lot, and I think you have to give time to things. What ends up happening is when auditions come in, there's a timeline, right? There's a deadline, it needs
Right.
to be due. So that
Right.
actually trumps sort of my whole family schedule.
Uh-oh.
And because and my husband's always my reader, because when he's around, he's actually out of town right now, but when he's around, he is my reader, and we self tape together wherever I am, wherever we are. But and then calls for Doggy Duga get scheduled during the day. We usually have a couple days that are devoted to being on calls and talking to each other and figuring out what needs to be done and what's going on. And there's so much going on with Doggy Do Good right now, that and all great stuff, like expanding products and partnerships with great people and companies, and it's all very exciting. So a lot of times, we also are parents. We have a 4-year-old, so it's
Right.
tag teaming and really trying to schedule. And sometimes we're good at it and sometimes we suck at it. And it's just remembering that, this week we didn't do great with it, so next week we've
Next week.
got to
Yeah.
hit it harder and try a little better. And so that's the key. But when we had my son, it was like a shock, where you were just like, oh, okay, now I have this. Being a parent is a business unto itself, and
Right.
and distributing the workload for that. And I think it's everybody's journey. I hope people, I don't, I think women particularly are getting much better. There's a lot more women talking about needing to have the work evenly distributed, and to
Oh, yeah.
understand that that's okay. It does not every family is different. My husband and I have a pretty equal parenting distribution, and I appreciate that. But some of the time it requires me, like my husband is gone this weekend, and it requires me to say, like, hey, because I was by myself this weekend and I did a podcast, like I had to work while you were gone, I need time to be doing social media or be doing other things that I'm required to do. And but I have to, you have to ask for that, and you have to take up the space that you need. Sometimes that journey is hard to even know. I need more space, or I need to sit and be by myself. I am someone that reboots in silence.
Oh, yeah.
It
Me too.
and it's been a journey discovering that. I
It has.
was Yeah, I was just especially, like, it was kind of okay before I became a parent, but now there's a lot more talking and needs, and everybody needs you. And I've had to say, like, I just have to take the time to go read a book, because that's where I feel better, or do whatever it is that is going to rejuvenate me, so I can come back and be an awesome human and available for you guys. And but we're not really taught to understand ourselves that way when we're growing
Right.
up.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So doing it as an adult, ooh, is so
It's hard.
necessary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can before, not everybody needs to be a parent, but it definitely will be a survival tactic of anyone wanting to become a parent. You've got to figure out that stuff, or else you're going to be melting down all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. Or you can do like me. You can have a calendar that nobody looks at. Just gonna throw that out there.
Nobody's
Okay,
reading your calendar.
Nobody reads I'm kind of
I
looking over at
like
Dave.
it.
I have this awesome color coded calendar and I post it where everybody can see it. And then they ask me questions
Well,
that
the
are
problem is you
on
put
the
it. The
calendar.
problem is you put it on the fridge. No one's going to the fridge to look at the calendar. They're going to eat the food in the
Put
fridge.
Sure.
see, my thought was you put it on the fridge and people are going into the fridge, so they'll be like, oh, okay, here's the calendar on
Doesn't
the
seem to work
fridge.
that way.
It
So
does seem logical to me, yes, that
yeah,
everybody
See?
would notice. But that is where everybody's different. I do think this is a male female thing where I am like, why do you not see the thing that's directly in front of you? You know, but
Exactly.
that's a whole nother podcast. If you want to
That's
start a
okay. That's going to
podcast,
be our part two.
ooh, I
We're
think
going to have to
so.
come up, yeah, and
And
just
I
do a
will
part.
be happy to talk with you about my journey with that and experiencing like center eye blindness in any male that I've encountered where I'm like, how are you not seeing what is happening right now? But yes, I will find the thing that is in the drawer right in front of your face. But
Exactly. Okay.
it's
Yeah.
blocking my food.
We're going to have to do a part two. Yep.
I'm sure I'm available for it. Yeah.
So, what's the most rewarding aspect of being an entrepreneur for you?
The giving back.
Oh,
And we have Doggy Do Good is so rich with this because our products are always planet friendly and we do huge donations um, to various organizations, whether that be people that defend animal rights, rights for the planet. We do a big fundraiser partnership with the Humane Society, which actually the Humane Society has just changed their name, and I think it is One Human World. I'll have to double check this, but anyway, we all know the Humane Society, and
right.
my husband and I have been able to do this really beautiful fundraiser auction with them in New York City, which has just been, it's something our son can't come until he's 7, they've told us, because my
Aw.
son would love a fundraiser.
I
But
think he'd have a great time.
he would have a great time. He does love fancy things. And I just love the idea of him getting a little tux and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how long we're able to do this with them. But it's just this really beautiful fundraiser and people are raising so much money, and the Humane Society gets to talk about kind of what they're doing behind the scenes, and they've done some beautiful like ending dog meat trade in Korea and just like things that are mind blowing. The Humane Society has such power behind them. So being able to be involved with them has been such a gift. But also just connecting with customers. We have some people that have been customers of Doggy Do Good from the start, and they're still our customers, and just the loyalty of people, and it's kind of mirrors the fan base of Cobra Kai, where I feel like we have people who are just fans of the fact that my husband and I have made this company, and they love the products, and they stay up with it and they're supporting us, and that's just such a gift to have people kind of in your corner and to feel that
Right.
Right.
and to
Yeah.
feel like you're doing something that does give back and means a lot to us is really an honor to do something like that.
Right.
That's awesome.
That is. So would you say that that's your biggest win as an entrepreneur, or is there another one?
Well, I think the biggest win, just a flat out win, is being able to survive as a small business. We started this in 2015. We sourced out the products. We began selling in 2016. And at that point, it was our website and Amazon. And we would get into boutiques here and there, but it really just grew from there. 2017, it really grew quite a bit on Amazon, and we just had the bags. These compostable pet waste bags is our kind of predominant
Wow.
product, and then we began making pet wipes and shampoo bars, and it just grew and grew. And then, honestly, when the pandemic happened, it really exploded because everyone was online shopping, and I
Right.
Right.
think everyone was looking for something that felt good too, where they were like, I want to support a small business, I want to make it earth friendly. I think people were just hyper conscious, and we've all now gone back to reality, thankfully. But from that point, online sales aren't what they were when we were in the pandemic mode, but I also don't want us to be in a pandemic. So,
Right.
but
Exactly.
we've had some great things. We're doing a partnership with CVS right now. We are in Staples, and we there's just some cool other there's a new product coming out that people are really really excited about, and that is called Next, and it is actually the first ever landfill friendly pet waste bag. So this is a
Wow.
recycled bag, and we have a patented science behind the enzyme that we've put in this bag, and it basically breaks down in a landfill in 5 years. It's
That's
very
cool.
exciting. So that's been our biggest. We just actually did the Global Pet Expo here in Orlando. We're currently in Florida in the moment, but
Uh-huh.
so I think just I'm really, really proud of the fact that it's hard to be a small business. It's hard to see continued growth. You are constantly up against walls. And I
Right.
really attribute, were it not for my husband, that's a lot of my husband's. He is different than I am in that I really think he lives his life that like the only way to get to the other side of the wall is through, and I will keep going. There is no folding. I
There
will
you go.
keep going until, and watching that perseverance that he has is extremely motivating to me, and it's a big lesson that I learn from him all the time, and it's why we get to live such an extraordinary life because he really pushes hard and makes sure that we get to the other side and see the success. So that's been the biggest win for sure.
That's
Right.
awesome. I'm gonna have to adapt that mentality to my world for sure.
Yeah, it is. It applies to everything. And it is, I think when you have someone that I've watched do it over and over again, it's really easy to be reminded, it is kind of the way he lives his life. So that's a great reminder for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're gonna go on a quick commercial break.
Okay, would you hang around for some fun the next round?
Absolutely.
All righty, we'll be right back.
Welcome to Action Magazine, your front row seat to the world of entertainment. Get the latest news, exclusive stories, and the insider access to the hottest trends and more, all in one place. But here's the twist. Action Magazine isn't just something you read, it's something you experience. Dive deeper with interactive features, immersive videos, and content that comes to life on your screen. For the best experience, view on your computer. Get in on the action. Stay ahead of the curve with stories that move just as fast as you do. Action Magazine. Entertainment redefined. Log on now and experience the difference.
All righty, welcome back to the show, everybody.
Oh, welcome back, guys.
All right, let's get into the next round of questions.
The fun round.
Yay.
What is your favorite city and why?
Favorite city. Wow. First thing that popped in my head is New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
I love.
I
Oh
I
yeah.
love. So we always stop here. My husband's birthday falls around Jazz Fest. If you
Oh,
have
that's
not gone to
awesome.
Jazz Fest, it is a very fun time to be in New Orleans. We actually just passed through and were accidentally there for pre Mardi Gras, which was pretty
Oh my
cool.
god.
But now my 4-year-old might be obsessed with Mardi Gras because we I just happened to make us a dinner reservation in the Garden District, and as we are walking to this beautiful Middle Eastern restaurant that we love called Shaya, I realize the roads are blocked and all the parades are coming through.
Oh
So
wow.
Oh,
I've never been there during this time frame. It was so much fun and actually really kid friendly. They were throwing out so much stuff to him. So obviously to a 4-year-old, this
He's
is
like
insane.
Christmas.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. And you wouldn't believe, we're in our RV right now. It is packed with, like, we have extra luggage. We have like 2 extra bags of just Mardi Gras toys. So
Oh
I think
nice.
I think I'm gonna have to have a party or something once we get somewhere, because what am I gonna do with all of this stuff? But New Orleans, I love it. I love the music. I love the people. I love the food. It's just so much fun. And also, before we had my son, my husband and I stayed with a lady. We rented an Airbnb and we stayed with a woman who used to volunteer at the rescue, the dog rescue that is the Pits and Parolees TV
Oh,
Oh
show.
wow.
wow.
I highly, if you are there for a weekend and you can go and walk dogs at that rescue, and there's also a restaurant that they donate to that rescue. So,
Oh my
anytime we're
God.
traveling, we really try to incorporate some of the things that we're passionate about. But I just love New Orleans. It's a great place, and I think they get hit again and again and again with stuff,
Right.
and they just keep
Like
rising up,
bounce back.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is a testament to just some beautiful souls.
Wow. Okay. I definitely, all of us have to agree. That is like
Yeah.
one of the top 10
It's a
for
cool
sure.
place, yeah.
For sure.
All right, so if you could have any mythical creature as a sidekick, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, mythical creature as a sidekick? Like they
Yep.
are just my partner in crime.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Ooh, this is really. While this is not mythical, could I make a real life creature mythical?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I would love a sidekick that's like a butterfly, but then maybe it has some magical powers.
That's cool.
That's cool.
But it's always like on my shoulder. You know what I mean? So I can be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what should we do in this scenario? Because I love a butterfly. I think to me, a hummingbird and a butterfly are like, they're magic. They just
Oh yeah.
seem not of this world, the way they just flutter and they're so just fleeting, and it just feels so magical to me that I would have some sort of butterfly. I've been really toying with getting a butterfly tattoo. I don't know
Oh, that would
if
be
that's,
cool.
but I've seen some cool ones and I don't know. So maybe that's how it'll manifest. Like my
It'll,
mythical monarch will be just on my body tattooed somewhere.
there you
There you
go.
go. There it is.
There it is. It will, they'll see, and then every time you see it, you'll think about that question. See, there you go.
I love it.
All right, so would you rather have the ability to read minds but never speak, or just be able to say whatever you want but not know what anybody's ever thinking?
Well, I feel like I already say whatever I want and no, I don't know what anyone's thinking. So, but reading people's minds, that's dangerous,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are sometimes, do you ever find yourself in situations where you're saying one thing and then you're thinking the other, and then
Yeah.
the person's
Absolutely.
facial expression sort of reveals that maybe they're onto whatever's in your brain? That makes
Yeah.
me very
Yes.
nervous because then
Absolutely.
I'm a very unfiltered person. I mean, I'm kind. I'm not gonna say, your hair looks like a disaster. And my hair actually does look like a disaster. I live with a 4-year-old, so actually we went to get ice cream. We were having ice cream for lunch, and I'm like, am I not the most amazing mom in the world? Like, we are having ice cream for lunch. And I'm sitting across him at the table, and listen, we've been at the pool, like, and he looks over and he goes, you look like a mess.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I
That's
was
awesome.
like, thank you. I know I have not blown out my hair in a while. So I don't know. I'm living with someone who really says whatever they feel, because that's not a lie. You know what I mean? The 4-year-olds,
Right.
Exactly.
I do look like a mess according to him.
And
I
a
do have to say,
4-year-old.
well, I was going to say, in his defense, when I
Uh-huh.
put in time and effort and I am like, I'm in a dress, we're going out to dinner, I put on makeup, I'm putting in the effort, he is the first to acknowledge it. He is a big
Okay.
fan of glam. He loves you to get fancy and get glammed. So, he does the opposite of where he will really appreciate that. But yeah, reading people's minds, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe there's an element that, I mean, then you couldn't even speak. I mean, I guess you still have your hand gestures. You could flip someone
Yeah.
Right.
off if they really offend you. Or I do gesture quite a bit, so I feel like they would still get the drift of what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Neither, both and neither are difficult ways to walk
That's
through
true.
life.
Right. All right, so if your life were a movie, what would it be called and who would play you?
Gosh. I was gonna say my life for a movie would be called "You're a Mess," but I love when you get fancy. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's a good title.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a mess, but I love when you get fancy. I think I would love, because sometimes people do. There's a lot of actresses that I would love to play me, but I think the movie. I would love a movie that's everyone's lives are a mess, right?
Right.
And there's so much beauty in that, and there's so much growth in that, and there are so many highlights too, where that's the funny thing about social media, that we aren't so much sharing the fails constantly, because those, you don't want reminders of those, but that is, you learn from those fails, you grow from those fails, even things that are so painful that it isn't a fail, but it's just life. I recently said to my husband, life comes at you so fast and so hard, and even when you just dig your heels in and you're trying to stop it, you just can't. Life has its own idea of what's going to happen, and you can try your hardest to change route, and sometimes that just is not possible.
That's true, yeah.
So everyone should have a movie about their life, because I do think everyone's so terribly interesting, really. And I mean, maybe there are people that I don't know. Everybody has weird, crazy things that happen to them. But I love, I'm a really big fan of, yes, my love, what's going on?
I got,
Sorry.
That's okay.
You having chips?
No, I'm out of
Oh, he's out of chips. Okay, give
Oh,
me just 1 second. That is an emergency. So,
chips.
I
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
Right.
Chips are an
We're having
emergency.
yes, we're having an emergency chip
how
situation.
you need to get over there.
Oh,
you,
okay.
you just get that up and then jump over this.
I got it. Okay, here we go. Chips, more chips. All right.
Let's even wrap.
You got it. Be right back. I love you. Okay.
That is so cute. Yes, chips.
Okay,
It's a chips emergency. That's
completely.
Yeah.
I respect that. Yeah. Gosh, and now I am blanking. Why can I not remember who is married to James Franco's brother? Alison Brie. I would love Alison Brie. She is someone that people are like, you should play Alison Brie's sister or something, like older sister. And I am like, I love Alison Brie. Like, I would take that. I also really, really love Maggie Sith. She is in Billions, and I think she is just, if you're gonna cast someone, it should be just the most gorgeous, because this is obviously like the Hollywood version of your life. So I think sky's the limit on and they have brown hair, and I've recently cut my hair, but I think I've seen both of these women with short hair, but those would be my go-to casting.
Okay.
Right.
That's a solid cast.
So I would just play myself at every stage of my life and just shave.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, do that. You know what? And I was thinking, though, I didn't check if either of these ladies could sing and dance, but you know what? I think they would be capable of it, because they are that stunning of humans.
See, I could like tap Halle Berry, if we're going upscale,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. But like, I'm
Sky's
just
the
gonna
limit.
play baby.
Sky's the limit. But
right,
then my movie would kind of be along the lines of Clueless, because there's that.
I would love also to play. I think people cameo in the movies about their life. I would like to do that too.
Oh yeah,
Right. I don't know. I'm like a lady that sees her at the grocery store or something. That would be fun.
Alrighty, so would you rather have to always sing instead of talking, or dance instead of walking?
I would sing instead of talking, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think some of the time, and my husband actually has a lovely, like, singing to the radio voice. He did not, I mean, probably grew up singing in church, but he's not someone who will like karaoke or anything. But we often talk about how my son is growing up a little bit in a musical, because we do like to break into song, just even in the RV.
Oh no, that's so
Wherever
cool.
we are.
Your kiddo is going to have like the best. He's going to look back up on his life and just be like, "Wow, I grew up so."
I hope so. Or he's going to be, there are times when we're like, and there is therapy. There's where he's going to be in therapy. Because it just doesn't matter how hard you try. You know, you could be like, no, you can't have the thing that's completely going to burst you into flames, and he would lose his mind. You know, the
Right.
logic of the 4-year-old is challenging.
If you could only take 5 things to Desert Island, what would they be?
Are these like material items
Whatever you
or
can,
are
whatever you grab.
people?
Yeah, of 5
Either
things.
or.
Either or.
Yep.
Wow. Well, gosh, do I take my husband? I really do like him. 5 things. I obviously take my son. I would take my dog. Desert Island. I mean, you need survival items too.
Okay.
So it would be like, I don't know, the largest vat of like peanut butter or
Oh yeah.
peanuts. Because I could just, there's no end for peanuts or peanut butter for me. Like,
Me either. Yeah.
I'm really addicted. It's very hard. Like, I am someone where it's like, just don't even start with the peanuts or peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
I love it. So, fortunately, I do not have an allergy, or does my son, thank goodness. He has no allergies. So, okay, so that's, and then I would need probably a lot of reading material. Like, if then I could have, you know, endless books, that would be really nice. Gosh, I didn't take my husband though. I should probably take him. He would be
Good visit.
helpful. I should
Yeah.
probably take him because he would probably like build a fire and he would do those like survival things
Yeah.
that would make us live. So that's I
So, like,
guess I can bring him.
He and your son could be like a what do you call it? A 2-for-1.
Yeah,
There you
just
go.
smuggle
Okay.
both of them into the same thing.
Okay, let's do that. Let's just say like you know, my immediate, like who
Yeah.
I'm legally bound to can come with me as one.
All right. If you could choose to be any animal for the day, what would you choose?
It would be one that it would be a flying situation. I don't know about a bird because we actually, where we are right now, we're having a very weird hawk situation.
Oh
with-
no.
It's so, you guys, it's so crazy. When we first got here, we've been at this resort for a month. When we first got here, I was like, buddy, this is like National Geographic. Look at these hawks. Be
Oh
stunning.
my god.
Wow, these hawks have now, all the birds are now laying eggs, which is when they
no.
become nuts. So we have to walk, and they have 4 or 5 nests above where we are. So we all have to wear hats. The resort that we're at have bought us these hats with these umbrellas on top, so we look like complete lunatics. But I would rather keep my scalp than look cool. I do not care, but I
Yeah,
want to get to the
that's true.
pool without anybody dying. So they're vicious, and I've seen them fighting with each other. So
Oh
because like
no.
other birds, they're like diving into the hawks, and the hawks are fighting these other birds. So I think that is too violent of a trajectory for me. But I would love, you know, so maybe it is. Butterflies have very small. I think they have relatively short lives, but something that would fly, but it kind of kicks around for a while. Because to me, just I think that feeling of flight and seeing everything, and it's just the wind on your body would feel so incredible. And actually, I got a little simulation of this because we were just at Animal Kingdom at Disney, and they have an Avatar ride that everyone was talking to me about. This Avatar ride, well, we did a parent swap because that was the only way that my husband and I could each go on the ride. I think it is, I can't remember exactly what it was called, but you are riding one of those like beasts that they have in the Avatar movie, and it's 3D.
Oh yeah. No,
I
that's a
can't remember what
bison.
they're called. Well, you are like one of them, right? Your person melds, like your avatar melds with this creature, and you fly. It was so cool. It was called like passage of something or other. It'd be pretty easy to find out, but and you felt like, and also it was 4D because they were blowing wind at you, and you would get water splashed onto your body.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. So I got a little simulation of that. It was cool.
That sounds so much fun.
That does. All right. So, would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
Wow, neither. I don't know. I don't know. Um, the past, I guess, if you could like Back to the Future it and change something, maybe. I'm not sure. I would go into the past and maybe like the future. Who knows what you get in the future, right? Because
That's true.
you're creating that. You're gonna that's still to be created. I can't even tell. What if I hop to the future and then it was something nuts and I'm like, what am I doing here? The past for sure. So you could go, I don't exactly know what I would want to change or recreate, but if I spent enough time, I think I would find something where it's like, gosh, I wish I would have done something a little bit differently. Yeah. I actually, now that we're talking about it, I'm formulating. There's an event that I think I would go back to, that I would handle myself differently in. But maybe I only know that because I know how it plays out.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's
That's what it
true.
is.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, I know how it plays out. So if you're giving me the past, I would go and change that, and it probably wouldn't change. It wouldn't change a lot, except I would know that I did everything I could,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
and that would
Oh,
be nice.
All right. If you could switch the lives of anyone for the day, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, you guys, is this the fun round? This is the
this
hard
is.
round to me. This one
You're like,
is
okay, I'm
so hard.
thinking.
The fun round, I think the fun round was the first round. This one is like it's quiztastic. I'm not sure. Well, I've even forgotten the question. What's happening?
Oh.
If I could
Okay. Switch the lives of
switch
anyone
for
for
one
a day.
day,
Yep.
Lives with anyone.
oh my gosh, this is brutal.
Okay, like human or even non-human. Because I know I would totally switch lives with our office dog. I don't know if you heard him a minute ago. He was clearing his
I
throat, and then he
did.
looked
Oh
and
my
laid
gosh.
down.
So he's got the
So
life. Sure,
he
sure,
Yep.
has
sure.
the complete life.
He does.
So he gets massages, and then he gets like carried
Yeah.
around like a baby.
Oh my
So
gosh. I
yeah.
love everything about that. Yes, yes, yes. Um Dogs though concern me because it's so simple that,
Right.
it's so like, which I love,
Uh-huh.
that but you also, what if there's something you need, the inability to talk and communicate and
Yeah.
just be like, listen, you're annoying me, don't pet me again, or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
or like, I know you have a snack that you are refusing to give to me, like whatever.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Not being able just to say that, I think is the challenge of the dog. I wish they could just talk to us.
Oh,
So,
so do.
but
Absolutely.
switching, this is a difficult one because I am a real believer that, oh, you know what? I think I did think of someone, because if I could grow up, like come back to be Kristen Bell.
Oh, love her. Yes.
I love Kristen Bell. You know what? She's from Detroit, as is Dax Shepard. She actually went to high school like very close to where our house in Detroit is. Which we're not always there, but I know that sometimes they come back. And I also know they went on a big RV trip. My husband really believes that Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard are very, like, they should be very close friends with us, that we have so much in common with them, and that we would be bestest of friends, because there's all the I from what I have heard and read, we've never crossed paths, but I love her sense of humor. I think she's ridiculously talented. Frozen's incredible. She has an insane voice. I also think there are people, and I am someone who would like to do this at some point in my life. I love the idea of having like salons again. Do you remember the term
Oh
salon?
yeah.
As in, like,
Like the
everyone
French.
comes
Yeah.
and brings like a little piece of art or something. Like, someone will
Yeah.
recite poetry, someone's gonna sing, someone's gonna read a passage from a book, someone's gonna, I don't know, tell a joke or whatever. But I love, and I think they are people who maybe they do stuff like that, or they play a lot of games, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe if I could get into her world and feel like I'm just going to be Kristen Bell for a day. At the same time, I bet there's a lot of there's multiple kids, and I'm like the first to admit I am a one kid mom. I like to have one. I do not want multiple. I don't want to have to juggle multiple kids. That seems very, very not my style.
Uh-huh.
I like to focus on one. And so I would be curious. Hopefully I switch days when she's like having a party or something like that, and just like having friends over and they're just gonna sing musicals, and maybe like Josh Gad's there. I don't know. I also know that she is a fan of Martin Sexton, who is a musician that my husband and I go all over the country to try to find and go to his concerts. And I know that
Cool.
she has had him in her house to perform.
Oh wow.
So
Awesome.
I guess Kristen Bell's my lady. I would reincarnate
Gotcha.
maybe as her.
There we go. Alrighty. You have one person to give a shout out to. So who is it, and why'd you pick them?
Person to give a shout out to. I don't know. Maybe I will. I mean, maybe I'll just give a shout out to my husband. He's not here right now. And as this podcast was unfolding, I realized he's such a great teammate, and he is a lot of what holds the glue of my life together. It's easy to know that when he's not here too, because
Right.
it's a good reminder. That's a good parenting tip, though. I do think you need to allow the other parent to single parent here and there, so they can be reminded of how much you bring to the table and how much easier their life is just
That's
across the
true.
board. But we brought up a bunch of stuff. So, Dave Wash, you're going to listen to this podcast, I'm sure, because he's a big supporter of everything that I get into. So I'm sure, shout out to him. I love you. Glad I'm married to you.
Oh, that's sweet.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, what is the one piece of advice you would give to people who want to be in this industry?
I have so many pieces of advice, but I'm not sure if that's a good or bad trait. I think this is completely, it's attainable. And if your motivation to be an actor is to just work with awesome people and create great things, you can do that from anywhere and get in it now. I think
Right.
people are making awesome projects and awesome, maybe not TV shows, but film and theater and arts and supporting other people and just going head first into it. I also think we're at a cool time where if you have an impulse to write your own stories and shoot your own stories and find awesome people. I think a lot of the people that I work with, like the guys who created Cobra Kai, those guys have known each other their whole entire lives.
Right.
The guys from Detroiters, Tim and Sam, those guys have known each other since they were doing Second City in Detroit. Tim was Sam's teacher in Second City. They became best friends.
Wow.
They're making things together. And though I think having partnerships and having people you love and trust to partner with, find those people. And that doesn't come out of nowhere too. I think that comes also from being a talented, good human. So just you can do this from everywhere. Just find good people to make things with, and that's half the battle probably.
Right.
That's
true.
awesome advice.
Yeah.
That is definitely true.
Yeah.
Find your tribe, so to speak.
Right. Absolutely.
So, in addition to all you have going on, what's next for you?
What is next? I would love to get my hands on Battle of Bushy Run. When is that coming to the US? I do not know. And then I am just auditioning. I actually am going to be getting back to New York City here shortly. We have, we always travel for the winters, which is such a gift and a blessing. So
Right.
we are going to be wrapping up actually in May. And then I will be back in New York City. And I am really looking forward to just seeing friends, seeing theater. There's so much cool stuff going on, always on Broadway. And just kind of when we're on the road, I feel like we're a little transient. I'm excited to get back to some of these hubs. I'll probably be back in LA here shortly. But I think it's just kind of being back in one of the hubs and seeing everybody and waiting for the next audition to hit for sure.
Right. Of course. So, what is the one thing you want our audience to know about you?
I'm a normal, real life human, and I would love to connect with you. If you find me on social media, I really love taking, everything that we talked about. I could talk to you guys forever. That's probably my
No,
Right.
like
this is like
worst.
such an
I'm the
awesome
worst on
podcast.
podcasts because, or even just I see people in real life and I will chat your head off because I don't know, you find people that have things in common and are curious about something that you're doing, and it's so easy to share. And maybe I talk too much. I was actually just thinking about, like, I was telling people that I met here that my husband was gone for the weekend, and I was like, maybe you're not supposed to be sharing that. Like, I'm going to end up on like a Dateline podcast or something. I probably overshare. I shouldn't be. Maybe that's what the audience needs to know. If you want to find someone who's an actress that overshares, I'm your girl. But
I
I
think
love
I'm
to
like
connect
that
with
too.
people.
So
Yeah, I really, it's, and I love to connect with people in real life. I've had people that I've met, as fans, and I like to, in a safe situation, in a public place, I will meet you. But no, I think I love to stay connected with people, and I'm just a regular mom, actress, entrepreneur, we're everywhere.
that's awesome.
Alrighty. So, last question. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, find me. Oh, where do you find me?
Yeah, where do you
Yeah.
find
Let's see. I'm mainly on Instagram. I actually have been. So I'm Cara.AnnMarie, AnnMarie. I also have Doggy Dogood, which is at Doggy Dogooder. Um, I'm doing both of those social medias. I also have started a thing called Wishful Thinking, and it's my family's fun adventures that we get into. My son and I just went to a crazy alligator farm. It was
Oh,
madness,
that's
Oh,
you
that's
guys.
awesome.
It was madness.
I
I did
even
not.
got a snake
Oh, he got a snake
You
while we were
did?
there.
You got a snake?
Yes, he
What
got
did
a
you name
snake.
him something?
What's the snake's name?
with the snake.
Wit the snake. So my son's name is Wit. It's Whitaker. So he named the snake after himself. So they must look like. But I am telling you, you guys, I did not. I understand that these gators cannot get you. They are in a zoo. My anxiety was through the roof from start to finish. It was so. I've never seen. And the cool thing about this, I thought when we were going, it was going to be like Florida gators, which I don't know my feelings about that, but it was actually alligators and crocodiles and kind of like dragons and snakes from all over the globe. They have gotten and rescued. So it ended up being really cool. It was
Mom.
it was so fun. Yes, my love.
Remember that lady holding the alligator and she put tape?
She did, yep. So as much as I was fearful that the gators could not get out, we turned a corner and there was one of the, people holding one of them outside of a cage,
Oh my God.
which I thought, like, that is my worst nightmare right there. This is what I
Yeah.
feared. This is what I feared would happen. I'm coming to the alligator zoo. But it was kind of like a small puppy size one, and they had taped the mouth shut. Now she did say that we couldn't hold it, which, like, either of us were gonna jump at the chance to hold this thing. Like, I don't know what. I guess that's why some people
probably
need
hunt and hold the alligator.
now he wants to hold it. But when we were there, obviously he was not interested in that. But she did say that it was too wiggly. It was like being too feisty, so we couldn't hold it. But no, thank you, ma'am. I do not need to hold it.
You don't need to hold it. I can hold it.
It would have been a cool photo. So cute. It would have been a cool photo, but no, thank you. But so I've set up a social media that's our last name, Wishful Thinking, and it's all of our crazy shenanigans and adventures. I am on Facebook, which is actor Cara AnnMarie. And I love to be social. I share, and I love, I'm actually going to try to do a better job.
I have the snake on the ground.
Oh, he has the snake on the ground. I actually am going to try to do a better job of sharing, when I'm working and when I'm on set, so that people can really see, like, what is the day like when you go, because I've seen other actors doing that, and I think it's super educational for people to see, like, this is what it's going to be like when you go to set, and it's not all that scary. It's going to be cool and fun. So I'm going to try to get better at, honestly, just doing more video content. I'm not someone that loves to be just videoing our day to day. Some people seem to like that. But when I am working, I do want to share more about that. So find me on social. Yes.
Okay.
All righty.
That's so awesome.
All righty, Cara. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys so much. It has been such a gift and a pleasure, and I could do part 2, 3. We could start a mom podcast. Whatever you want to do next.
We're definitely going to talk offline for sure.
I love it.
Figure out what else we can get into.
Right.
I love that. You guys, thank you, and have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you again soon.
Did you guys enjoy the show? I know we did. Thanks to Cara for joining us today. Make sure to check out her social media, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.